All right, so I've known Bruce for quite a while, and I was thinking about what to do here, and I said, improving the design and construction of concrete slabs on ground. I'm a slab-on-ground guy, but Bruce Supernaut is really more like improving the design and construction of concrete, right? Everything. So a lot of what I say here is going to be applicable to all concrete. We know that he's done a lot. He's written a lot for sure. I've been able to, how do we advance these things? I've been able to work with him over the years, and I don't know, probably about 15 years ago, I had a list of all of his publications, and it was a long list, and I could not find it. It's something like 15 years ago, he had 150 or 160 publications, just the ones written by him, and I got tired after putting about 30 of them up here on the board. I think it's more than that, and keep in mind, it's probably up around 200, north of 200 now. And these are only the ones that his name are on. We know that he's done a lot more. We know that he's done the guide to slabs that receive moisture-sensitive flooring. He was the primary author of that one for 302.2. He wrote that in like 6 months, and it took us 17 years to do the second version of it. But thanks to Peter Craig, that just got published recently. And then, of course, we all know that he is the primary author on most, if not all, of the ASCC position statements. So Bruce sees something that's needed in the industry, something that's needed for education, and he goes and does it. So I've had the pleasure of working with him. One of the things that amazes me is if you look at other countries' standards and codes will cite ACI and they cite ASTM, our codes and standards, but they'll also cite Bruce Supernaut. One in particular is the Canadian Standards Association. I don't know if you've seen this, but all throughout this document, just do what Bruce Supernaut says. He references his curling, three-part curling study. I mean, that to me, that's just one thing. We've seen this a couple of times, but that's badass right there. I mean, really, that's amazing. Another country's codes and standards are referencing Bruce Supernaut. That's just incredible. So I didn't know. I was trying to look for how many publications he had. So I Googled, how many publications does Bruce Supernaut have? So I looked up and, I found this 2023 State of the Industry. We've probably all seen these. Construction Technology Report. Of course, Bruce Supernaut's in it. Scroll down. There he is. Scroll down a little more and you want to blow this up. I want to zoom in on this. It has a little blurb here who he is. Bruce Supernaut is a concrete consultant and a technical derricator at the American... Damn! I don't even know what a derricator is, let alone a technical derricator. All I know is that that's what I aspire to be. Actually, hope someday I can be a derricator too. So I looked, and Webster doesn't know what a derricator is either. I looked it up. Webster didn't know. So I said, I know Bruce. I think, just in context, I think I can make up a definition for derricator. Derricator, and we need the pronunciation right. Derricator. That's a noun. And it means a person who consistently accomplishes what Bruce Supernaut accomplished throughout a career. And that's, it's funny, and I mean it to be funny, but this is the part here. Throughout a career, there will never be another Bruce Supernaut. Nobody is going to consistently accomplish what Bruce Supernaut has accomplished throughout a career. Nobody can. This is the kiss of death to be, that's the next Bruce Supernaut. There's no way. There is no other Bruce Supernaut. So, congratulations, technical derricator. Maybe the rest of us are just regular derricators feeding you all the technical work. I don't know. Technical derricator. All right, something else I came upon was we all know that most influential in the concrete industry in 2014, Bruce was named one of the most influential people in the concrete industry. One of the things I like about this recognition is that it picks out people for different reasons, right? You might be an influencer for construction. You might be an influencer for design. There are different reasons to be an influencer and be one of the most influential. And Bruce's was, and I quote from this article, for being an advocate for contractors and helping the entire design and construction team understand one another. Right? And he's quoted in here saying, I've tried to interpret between the engineer and the contractor to help each understand what the other can and can't do and to find some simple changes that can make everyone happy. Simple to who? Not simple to most people, but simple to the derricator over here, really. I mean, the technical, that's what Bruce did, and I think designers appreciated that. Contractors certainly appreciate it, but I gotta be honest, consultants appreciate that, because another thing said, it seems like I helped define this gap, right? This gap, I think, is the consultants. You've defined what a consultant is. What is a consultant? You've got the design, you've got the contractor, and you've got the material supplier, right? These are like gears in a machine. What is the consultant? The consultant greases the gears in the machine to make the whole project work better, right? And that's really what Bruce Supernut did. He defined what a consultant was. So us other consultants, we know what we are now because he defined it. In fact, let's put that Hawaiian shirt on that guy, because that's Bruce's role there. So yes, most influential in the concrete industry, right? And I'm just gonna, out of all those 200 plus articles that he's written and seminars that he's given, I'm just gonna pick 3 things that just keep constantly coming up. And I just keep using his articles to help make things easier for the designer and the contractor, right? Bird baths is one. Some people still like to check to see if bird baths are on a slab on ground. You know, bird baths, when you flood something, you know, the other undesired, some specification would require no bird baths. For a slab on ground, especially those that are not pitched to any kind of drain, guaranteed you're going to get bird baths. You're going to get bird baths. We specify flatness and we specify levelness, and the flatter and more level the slab gets, the more you're going to have water retained on that slab, right? You're going to have this kind of situation. Some of the water is going to go into the joints, of course. The rest of the water is going to just pond there until it evaporates. And especially, you know, so Bruce wrote a couple of articles on that. Bird baths, expectations versus reality. Bird baths on concrete slabs. And this especially, when do you test those? When are you supposed to be looking at bird baths, you know? So we know that concrete dries from the top down. It curls. And even if it's pitched or sloped to a drain or an exterior pavement that has a nice slope on it so it'll drain and shed water, curling is going to override that, and you're going to still get bird baths. To avoid bird baths is impossible. Bruce has taught us that, and I still have to use these 4 articles quite often to, you know, convince people that that's not a very good specification or a very good requirement. Next thing, of course, I said through 2.2, the design of slabs on ground, or slabs to receive moisture-sensitive floor coverings. Bruce wrote an article on that, and he certainly wrote through a 2.2. Went through all the different things, the vapor retarder, the thickness, the location of the vapor retarder, drying time. There wasn't any other publications that really told us how long it took for these slabs to dry, both normal weight and lightweight slabs to dry. Concrete mixtures, what's important in a concrete mixture for concrete that's going to receive a moisture-sensitive floor covering? Slab thickness. Interesting enough, there's a rule of thumb that says concrete slabs will dry 1 month for every inch of thickness. Well, Bruce showed that actually it's not true. All slabs dry about the same amount of time. So that was interesting. The rule of thumb is not so good. Concrete finish, of course, we would know for trowel slab, hard trowel slab, it will slow down the drying rate. Curing has an impact on moisture-sensitive floor finishes. But one of the most important things that I continually use from this article, people will call, I've got a slab that we placed 11 months ago. It's still not testing to the low, you know, moisture that's needed to put the floor covering on. I said 11 months ago. That's a long time. When was the roof dried in? Oh, well, last week. If you don't have the roof dried in, you're not in drying conditions yet. And Bruce published that here. You can see the initial drying curve. Then it got re-wetted. Turn the clock right back to 0. Second drying curve. Re-wetted, turn back. You've got to have a good drying environment to get a dry slab or to initiate that slab drying process. One of the more recent articles that he put out, this is the third and the only one, I'm only going to scrape the very top of the iceberg and then I'm going to get out of here and let the last speaker finish here. So sulfate exposure to concrete slabs exposed to like sulfate soils. So Bruce wrote an article, and we probably know that ACI 318 has requirements in there on what we need to do to the concrete for slabs that are exposed to high sulfate soils. And in general, we lower the water cement, we put a higher strength, we can use sulfate-resistant cement in there. All of these things, well, sulfate-resistant cement may be in some markets difficult to find. And certainly lowering the water-cement ratio and creating a higher strength may be more difficult to finish, especially when we've got a higher tolerance finish we're trying to hit. So one of the things that he suggested is maybe another approach is to include a separation layer, or a vapor retarder, that separates the concrete from that high sulfate soil. So hopefully maybe 318 is looking at that. Maybe Kevin's looking at that right now, I don't know. You know, another just a good more recent article. So to wrap it up, we know that last week was opening day of baseball. I don't know how many baseball fans here are here, but you know, you start watching these opening day games and you look around at these stadiums and there's all these retired numbers. And I'm like, wow, you know, I'm doing that Bruce Superman symposium. Maybe I can bring that in, you know. Maybe ACI can retire his number, you know, his member number. Well, ACI doesn't reuse member numbers, so that's kind of lame. Everybody's retired number when they retire. So retiring the number for Bruce Superman, not a good deal, but then I started thinking, what about the name? Maybe we retire his name. Well, wouldn't that be funny? You know, 25 years from now, some guy named Floyd Supernaut goes to register and they're like, sorry, Floyd, you can register, but you can't use the name Supernaut. That's retired. So that probably won't work. Can't really retire your name, but I think, you know, remember when the fast food restaurants created this campaign? Supersize, right? Supersize fries and supersize drink. Supersize. And it wasn't just an adjective. You remember? You go to order something, would you like to supersize that? And it was like, made you feel like you had to, you know, because that was better. You didn't want to go, no, I just want the regular size. Of course I want to supersize it. That's improved. That's better. Yes, supersize it. So supersizing it gave me an idea, you know. Maybe we can use his name and put it in the cement and concrete terminology. Supernaut, right? What is the definition of supernaut? Well, it's a verb, means to improve the design and construction of concrete. Supernaut. You can just see a design engineer going to a design meeting for his design team and saying, you know, I'm just going to spitball it here, but let me try to supernaut that design. Yeah, I got it. Remove some steel, lower the carbon. It's good. Or you go to a contractor, you know, and you're like, hey, this is going to bleed a lot. Let me just supersize your finishing operations, right? Your procedures and your timing. You know, supernaut. You're a supernaut. Or you're looking at a concrete mix design, right? It's got a lot of paste content. Let me supernaut this for you. You know, I'm going to supernaut. From now on, I make the motion that we move to add the word supernaut to the concrete terminology manual, right? I think that would be fantastic.
Seconded.
Seconded. There you go. All right. So anyway, thank you, Bruce, for all of your contributions to the concrete industry. We've been saying it all day long. So you've given us a lot. You've defined that gap. You've provided a lot to the industry. So thank you very much.